Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and you may not like me after this episode. You'll like me later, but you might be a little mad at me. There are some serious hard truths that you guys need to hear if your goal is to have a multiple 6, 7, 8-figure business. You want to be really successful in what you do and bring in that cash and go after your dream and make money on your terms and have your life look how you want it to look and have the travel and the freedom and the FU money and not have to really decide if you can take one vacation that year or 7. If you want that, there's some stuff that you need to know. And most likely you've never been told it before because your teachers, mentors, coaches, families, friends, partners, they're not going to tell you because they don't want you to be upset with them. They want to keep the peace. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but they want to keep the peace. They don't want to burst your bubble. So they're protecting your feelings. They might not know because they might not be in business or have been in business long enough, or they simply don't care enough to have these uncomfortable conversations with you. This is why I'm so highly selective about who I hire on my team and as my coaches, because I want to make sure there are people who will give me the feedback, even if they know it's going to upset me temporarily or it's something I don't want to hear. I would rather someone tell me so I don't waste more time, energy, and money doing something that isn't working or wondering why nothing is working or things aren't making the money I want them to make when the answer's right in front of me, but I can't see it because we're not meant to do this alone. We can't see what's right in front of our face. There's some saying, which I would totally screw up, so I'm not even going to try. It's like, you can't see your hand and spite your face. I don't know. You guys can let me know. DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Let me know. I always want to know the proper way to say it. I just am terrible at remembering it. But I have a lot of international listeners, and I'm sure there's expressions in many different languages and cultures throughout the world that talk about this. So it's not just some random thing I'm pulling from my ass, okay? When we are too close to a problem, when we are too close to a situation, we are so enmeshed into something, we actually can't see the way out. We need to have someone help us see that, bird's eye view, so to speak. If any of you have ever done those weird corn mazes, some of you are like, what in the hell is a corn maze? Listen, I grew up in the Midwest. There were corn mazes where they make these mazes in the cornfields. It's usually done around like Halloween time. Anyway, I should do a whole episode on the weird shit that Americans do. When you're in a corn maze, you're really in the thick of it and the corn is high. So it's not like you can see over it. And it's very hard to figure your way out of that maze, because you can't see. You don't have that bird's eye view. You're not looking at it from above. Now, if you were to look at that maze from above, it would take 2 seconds to be able to get out of the maze. But when you're in the thick of it, when you're in deep in those crops and you can't see anything over your own head, it's a lot harder. That's entrepreneurship. In fact, that's really life. This is why we're not meant to do it alone. In fact, it's dangerous to do it alone. It's soul sucking to do it alone. It's energy sucking. It's going to cost you a lot more time, energy, and effort to do it alone. Yet, lo and behold, all of us still try to do the damn thing and figure it out on our own. Some of us are cheap. So we're not making much money. So it's like, well, I need to make sure that until I make more money, I can't spend money. Well, that's not business, just so you know. That's not how it works. Any restaurant you go to has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in business loans to open that restaurant, whether it's family loans, bank loans, friends loans, credit card loans. It wouldn't exist otherwise. It doesn't work like that. Any clothing store, you have to have inventory, online store or in-person store. If you're a real estate agent, you had to spend money to get your real estate license, and you had, most likely, unless you're a weird freak, you had to pay some kind of a coach or a teacher to help you pass that, because it's not an easy test. So you're not even you're not even making sense. It doesn't even make sense, but I'm not judging you. I did it. My first 5 years in my first business, I did hire, I did end up hiring an employee, I think at year 3, but it took 3 years. And before that, it took me probably 18 months to hire even like a contract worker. And I was like, well, God, I need to be making more money before I spend money. What in the hell was I even talking about? And I was like, well, I can do it myself. I'm sure I can figure it out. So I just should. Isn't that being scrappy? Isn't that being smart? Isn't that being responsible with my money? No, it's stupid, because it took me so much freaking longer. And then guess what? I was miserable. It's not just you're not after just making the money. A lot of you know how to make money and trade a lot of time for it and energy for it and sacrifice for it. Last time I checked, you're interested in making true wealth where you actually have freedom of time and are making money doing something that fulfills you, that lights you up, that excites you, that challenges you, that nourishes your soul, that helps other people. If it was just about making money, there's a lot of ways we can make money and trade time for it and sacrifice for it and exhaust ourselves for it. I've done that. I've gone that route too. So please know everything I say to you here is because I actually give a crap and I want you to succeed whether you're paying me or not. But this is that time of year. I mean, January's already gone, people. How did that happen? That was gone in a flash. And my guess is you have not made the progress in your business and in your goals like you would have liked at this point. And if you have, that's freaking great. Most of you have not. And you've been toe dipping around, monkeying around, and a lot of time has been wasted, and then are saying you feel uninspired, Mercury's in retrograde, I don't know what I'm doing. You put all this pressure on yourself by stacking all these goals and hopes and dreams for 2022, and then stacked them. All this pressure has been put on January, which that's why I called January the meltdown month. Well, now we're in a week in February. What's it going to be? Are we going to have February turn out like January? What are we going to do? This is why I timed the episode for right now, because I'm not going to let you mess around and monkey around another month if you want what you say you want. If you want what you say you want. But there's some expectations that we need to realign so you don't lose your damn mind and then want to quit. Because I know there's some of you who are in that spot too. Before I get into these things, if you have not signed up for my world famous 3 days to make bank online in the new year, 3-day live free training series, it starts tomorrow. You can still get in. I will not be doing this again until next year, until 2023. If you cannot make the times that are listed, and it's all on the registration page, we will be sending out a replay. You just won't be eligible for the $15,000 in prizes if you don't prioritize showing up live. because I have been sharing this for several weeks now. So all of you could have carved out, 75 minutes a day for 3 days, if it was a major priority for you. But at least you're going to have the replay, because I'm well aware we have listeners all over the world. And for some of you, this is like at 3 a.m. And I'm not expecting you to get up for me at 3 a.m. I mean, I would like it, but I'm not expecting you to. Make sure you grab your spot. This might already be completely gone. So when you go to the registration page at projectmewithtiffany.com/makebank, you can swipe up. The link is in the show notes, or it's in my Instagram bio at ProjectMeWithTiffany. It will tell you if there are no spots left. We have a maximum number of spots because last year we literally crashed my site. Once I dropped my offer, we crashed it. So we're trying to manage traffic flow. So it will tell you if it's sold out. But I want to make sure you get in there, because a lot of you think that you have to do more to get more. If you do more things, there's a increased chance you're going to make more money or get more clients in your business. That is not true. That is actually business suicide. I understand why you think that. I thought that too. And that's why I worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week in my first 5 years of having a business. Not a good plan, not sustainable. And I'm going to share with you why that doesn't work today. But in the 3 days to make bank, I'm sharing the 3 main things you need to focus on this year to bring serious cash in your business, period, end of story. Keeping it very simple, very straightforward. I'm paid $25,000 to teach this to corporations, to teach their digital marketing teams so that they can make a ton more money online for their businesses. And I'm giving it to my small business owners, to you, for free, because it's my way of paying it forward. The big guys shouldn't just get all the resources because they have all the money. I want to make sure I bring it to you guys. So go sign up. All right. Number 1. Despite what thousands of people try to portray on social media, scale and sustaining a profitable business is mentally hard as fuck. It'll test your self-belief. It'll test your self-worth. It'll test your sanity. It'll test your patience on a level of discomfort that is at times unbearable. That will even have you in the fetal position. That'll have you wanting to quit. That'll have you thinking you're crazy. That'll have you losing your mind. That'll bring up all of your deepest insecurities, even ones you never knew you had. There is no avoiding this unless you don't truly care about the business you're creating. If you don't really care about the business you're creating and it's just for money and you're totally emotionally detached from it, you're not going to experience these things at this intensity. Your ego won't like it, and you'll experience some of that, but not at this intensity. But I know if you're listening to the show, you care very, very much. You care about who you're helping, and you also care about the lifestyle that you're trying to build wealth for, not just for yourself, but for your kids, your family, for the charities you want to support. It is so hard, and there's not one highly successful entrepreneur you can name on the planet that wouldn't agree with me. Every single person who sits on the Shark Tank would absolutely start laughing when I say this, and they would be like, oh my God. Yes, like you want a lobotomy sometimes. I mean, it's insane. And it doesn't matter how much you have in the bank. Because even when you have a lot of money in the bank like I do, now you have a lot to lose. And now that's scary. So that doesn't take away the fear. There's no way to do it and not be absolutely terrified, not feel absolutely defeated sometimes. It is not possible. So I need you to level set your expectations on that. This is normal to feel this way. If you don't feel this way, I'd be concerned. And it's not like a one hot minute you feel this way. This could be for 2 weeks in a row. It could be for an entire month. If it was month after month after month, I would be like, listen, you don't have enough help in your business. Very, very normal. And guess what? Even though you're feeling all those things, you need to still show up regardless for your business, or it's not going to have any chance of growing. That's why I'm saying you can't do it alone. There's no way I could show up with the shit show of a January that I've had. There is no way I could have showed up if I didn't have the support of the people that are on my team and my coaches and the very few people in my inner circle. I had to use every single possible tool and resource available to me and wave the white flag and have help. And if you notice, if you follow me, you listen to the show, you know, I still showed up regardless. I practice what I preach to you, and it works. And if you're like not liking my tone of voice right now, it's because I'm using this tone because I'm very passionate and I care. And I want that ego of yours to hear me. I want it to hit you between the eyes and hit you hard. So if you're like, God, Tiffany's being kind of, mean and intense. Sometimes I need to do that in order for you guys to hear me, okay? Number 2, just because you finally decided to go for it and do the scary things, investing in your business, starting a podcast, launching your offer, showing up consistently on video for weeks, that doesn't mean the universe is going to reward you by having some Insta-success. In fact, 99.9% of the time, the opposite happens. Nothing will feel like it's working. No money will come in. You'll even be spending more than you're bringing in. It'll feel like you're pouring in all this time, effort, and money with no results or feedback. You're being also tested. It doesn't work like, it's kind of like if you decide, you know what, I'm ready for, let's say you got divorced or you had a breakup, okay? And now you've done work on yourself and you've taken time off from the dating world and you're like, now I'm ready to find my person. And then you go on a dating app or you meet some people and it's been like 3 months and now you're pissed off because you still haven't met that person. And you're like, well, I haven't met anyone good. This is bullshit. I've gone on, 6 dates with people and I've talked to people and I guess no one is out there for me. I'm destined to be alone the rest of my life. You've been doing it for 3 months. Just because you've decided that does not, and take action, that doesn't mean the universe magically co-conspires in your desired time frame. Your ego is trying to tell you that. Your ego wants you to be rewarded. Your ego wants it now. But that's not how divine timing works. We don't know what the best timing is. We don't even know what the best how is or the best way is all the time. If you do not leave room for the universe, for God, for a power greater than yourself to do its work, you are going to stay broke and your business will not grow. You will be repelling abundance because you are trying to control the magic. You're trying to control the how and the when. Maybe, if we use the example of dating, maybe it's that you needed to go on all these different dates to have some practice again, to have some realizations of the types of people you want or qualities that you do appreciate. And maybe it's at month 5 you meet that person. But because your attitude spun yourself out at 3, now your energy is very repelling and unattractive. And now you've really got no shot. Well, you're doing that in your business when you're that frustrated and pissed that nothing is working and what the hell am I doing wrong? And all these people have this success and not me. And I've spent all this money and nothing works. And meh. Well, my God, how do you think that energy comes across in person and online when you are showing up and writing content and showing up on video? Even if you're trying to kind of fake it and come across as like cheerful, bubbly, and delightful, I'm sorry, energy doesn't lie. It just does not lie. And I'm speaking from great experience. I have absolutely ruined launches. I've ruined campaigns. I've done a lot of things all because of trying to force my will on divine timing, and my ego is in the driver's seat and got nasty. I need 50 people sign up. If I don't, this isn't worth my time and energy. I've put all this out there, blah, 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 blah. I had to watch myself for 3 days to make bank this time. I asked one time my systems manager how many signups we had. I can kind of tell, but I asked for the official number. I didn't hate the number. I think we were like midway through. I didn't hate it. It wasn't where we were at last year. It wasn't the same number. And I'm spending a lot more money because I'm doing a big ad play. And I had to catch myself, and I caught myself really quickly because it does take practice. You know, and it's like, well, what do I care what the number is as long as the quality and the ideal clients are there? I don't give a shit. If there's 10,000 of you, if 9,000 of the people in there are just looking just to get free stuff, aren't really serious about their business, aren't going to take action or toe dipping, that'd be like you wanting to have 10,000 followers on Instagram. Well, I don't want you to want 10,000 followers. If you want, you should want 10,000 ideal clients following you. That's fantastic. But not 10,000 followers. I mean, you could have 9,500 90-day fiancés like a lot of my fitness and health people do. And now you only have 500 maybe ideal clients in there. But their vanity metrics look good. It's your ego. Our egos are so nasty, and they slip into that driver's seat, man, real quick without us realizing it. You must be willing to show up until it works, not willing to show up as long as you get evidence it's working in your deemed time frame, in your deemed way. That is called trying to control divine timing, and the universe will continue to repel abundance from you as long as you're in that energy. It is very unattractive. It is poverty mentality. It's very filled with fear and ick. It's the opposite of an abundant mindset. Showing up until, I will show up until, yeah, it looks like it's not working right now, but I'm going to trust it is working, and I'm going to do whatever it takes until this works. I'll continue to take scary action until this works. 3, checking boxes isn't a business growth plan. Published post today. Check. Sent an email to my list. Check. Met with my business coach. Check. Promoted an offer in my Instagram stories. Check. Yes, there are specific actions and steps to making money online, but those won't convert to cash without you infusing the heartfelt energy, fun, and passionate conviction into your business. A lot of you have lost that energy, fun, and passionate conviction because you're so pissed because the ego's in the driver's seat, and you're so frustrated because you're not getting evidence and external validation that what you're doing is working. You're not getting it, so you're getting upset. And then it pulls, that's why you don't have creativity. You're not motivated. You're not feeling inspired because you're not seeing evidence of your hard work in the way that you want to see it. Well, God, really, just picture yourself, like whether you believe in God or not, picture yourself saying this shit to God. God would be like, yeah, it really doesn't work that way. It doesn't sound like you're really caring that much about your people. It sounds like you're caring a lot more about getting validation and your immediate needs met. Doesn't sound like you're in this for the long haul. So I'm going to go spend my limited time, energy, and resources as God. I'm going to go pour that into someone who's willing to show up regardless and has faith that it's going to happen. And they have that level of willingness to show up until and be uncomfortable and be terrified and do it anyway and do it on repeat and sit in the dirty diaper. And even though There is no evidence that it's working. Have faith. That is what faith is. You have lost the faith. And it's easy to lose the faith. I'm not preaching it here and saying I've never been through this. I go through this a lot. So does every single friend of mine who's a multimillionaire. My former business coach is worth $100 million. He has a unique personality, but he goes through that. There are some investments he's had where he goes through that, and he is in his 70s now. Okay? Yes, there are specific actions and steps to making money online, but those won't convert to cash without you infusing that heartfelt energy, fun, and passionate conviction in your business. It just won't. Business isn't a diet plan. You can count calories, calories in, calories out, and experience weight loss. That's science. Business is not science. Successful and scalable brands won't survive with strategy alone. Great business and brand requires heart. Yes, it requires strategy. Yes, it requires creativity. It requires passion. It requires dedication and devotion. It is not science. It's not A plus B plus C minus D equals money. Are there specific steps? Do I teach you guys those? Am I giving you those 3 things in my 3 days to make bank and making it very clear? Yes. But if you don't continue to manage and put that ego in the trunk where it belongs, and you don't do everything possible to lead with the heartfelt energy, fun, and passionate conviction, it doesn't matter if you work with me privately, you're in my mastermind, you're in my Selling with Soul signature program. It does not matter that you have the step-by-step, proven over 14 years strategy from me. You will absolutely sabotage it. I've seen it happen many, many times, and I've done it myself. I've sabotaged my own damn self. That's why I can speak to this. If you're really pissed off at me, you feel free. You can DM me on Instagram. If you're not super pissed off and you appreciate this refreshing, hard truth, honesty, we need more 5-star written reviews on Apple Podcasts and iTunes. I know a lot of you guys listen on Spotify, and Spotify, you can now leave reviews. So that's awesome. For sure, if you're a Spotify listener, leave a written review on Spotify. We appreciate it. It doesn't take much time. And if you're wanting people to engage in your content, to give you testimonials, to write 5-star written reviews for your stuff, well, when was the last time you wrote a 5-star written review yourself? You got to kind of check yourself with that, because that's the law of reciprocity and the law of attraction, right? You give what you get what you give. It's like I noticed, really quick side note, but when I used to help out charities, use my sales skills to help out charities by getting like big donations to like galas, to benefit Cancer Society and stuff like that. And I remember, I think I was in my 20s, and I was like, people weren't buying these tickets for me. And I was like, but I'm so good at what I had. So, I had a pretty big ego in my 20s. I was like, I'm so good at this, and I don't understand. Like, this is normally so easy for me. And someone said something to me. I can't remember the exact words, but it was kind of harsh. It was someone who I was trying to sell and buying like a whole table, like an insurance company, buying a whole table at a gala. And I feel like this guy was fucking great. Shout out to my East Coast Jews. I fucking love my East Coast Jews. And he said, and you're like, why do you love your East Coast Jews? Because they're so freaking blunt. And I just love that energy. I'm here for it. He said something to me like, well, did you buy a table for your business? And I think each table was like 10 grand or 15 grand. And I was like, well, no. And he's like, so you're wanting me to buy a table for my small business, but you don't even have a table yourself. And I had no reply. I just started laughing and I was like, okay. And I said, he's like, and I go, I don't even want to reply because whatever I reply is I would be giving you an objection. Like, well, I don't have that kind of money to spend right now. And my guess is that's how he was going to reply. He goes, exactly. He goes, when you buy a table yourself, come back to me and I'll buy a table. And part of me wanted to say, well, I'll buy a table right now. But my cheap ass at that time, I didn't have a business at that time, but I also, I was still in corporate. But I didn't buy a table. I could have bought a table and donated it or invited friends. Well, I don't know if I had enough friends to fill the table, but he made a very clear point that really stuck with me. So I don't ask you guys to do anything that I've not done myself on repeat. And because I put so much out there publicly, the evidence is all there. The evidence is all there. So go take that 60 seconds, leave a 5-star written Apple review of the show. If you don't know how to do that, simply Google, how do I leave an Apple podcast review? And it'll show you the steps very quickly. Put your name or Instagram handle in the review so I know it's you. And thank you for helping support and grow the show. That's what those reviews are so great for. If you don't have consistent reviews on the show, your show kind of stops getting shown to more strangers on that Apple podcast or on that Spotify podcast platform. So help a sister out, okay? Go sign up for Make Bank, projectmewithtiffany.com/Make Bank. You can swipe up and get to the link, or it's on my Instagram at ProjectMeWithTiffany. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.